Tomorrow is the big catalyst, the strategic update. This is going to be epic tomorrow. This is either going to go really, really good or really, really bad. No in between. So the apes are either going to be driving Lambos or applying for Wendy's tomorrow. So just be very careful at this point, guys. This is a straight up gamble, not an investment. Momentum is cooling off. The squeeze may be winding down and coming to an end here. I kind of have a bad feeling about this. Generally speaking, when it comes to a big known catalyst like this, the stock tends to sell the news. And realistically, what do you really expect them to say? Maybe some layoffs, store closures. So unless something absolutely crazy is announced tomorrow, I really don't expect this to moon to the upside. So I can't support going short at the current price, 12.10. And again, I would cover at 6.50 where the gap is. And that should be some pretty fat tendies on the downside. What's up, YouTube? My name is Ty, financial professional. Welcome to my channel. Please like the video, please subscribe, and catch me every weekday after market close on the Smarter Gambling Show. So here is BBBY, Bed Bath & Beyond. This finishes at $9.53 today. That is down 21.3%.
And it's gone.
So we've been covering this stock for the past month, ever since this initially squeezed. This went from the low of $4.40 up to the high of $30, which was over a 580% upside. So epic short squeeze, insane price action. And then Ryan Cohen took a huge dump on the apes. And there's information coming out now that when he dumped, it was probably illegal. We'll get to that in a second. This went plunging down. It was a falling knife, went to the $8 range, and then it started going to the upside again. So it looked like the squeeze was still on, but in fact, we now see that it was a dead cat bounce. And today was the big catalyst, the strategic update announcement. So probably a lot of apes buying the rumor in anticipation for this catalyst. So a lot of apes were excited for today's catalyst. They thought it was going to moon, but in fact, this did sell the news. And I hate to be that guy, but I told you so. If you guys watched yesterday's show, I pretty much got everything here, spot on. So I make an excellent call, right? And then I get comments like this. This video came out before the drop even happened. It's clear who's being paid by the hedgies. So apparently I'm in bed with the hedge funds now because I do this for a living and I'm not a dumb ape. So actually I make about $1 a video here on YouTube for analyzing charts. But you know what? I should be getting paid by the hedge funds. Any hedge funds out there? Hit your boy up. The news was pretty bearish. So let's check that out real quick. So first of all, there is a 12 million share offering. So the company is diluting the stock and raising money for the future. So that's bearish short term, but it should help longer term. They have guidance for Q2 here. Guidance was 1.45 billion versus the 1.5 billion estimate. So a miss on guidance there. That's bearish. They are going to cut 20% of the workforce and close 150 stores, to be expected if you're trying to save money. They're shaking up their executive team. A lot of departures and a lot of new faces here. And Ryan Cohen and his company are now getting sued because it turns out he lied on his disclosure. He filed documentation saying that he was going to sell, and then he sold immediately after. And then he told the apes he did not sell yet when he did in fact sell. So that's pretty shady and possibly illegal. So he's getting investigated and sued for that right now. So yeah, really bearish news coming out of this strategic update announcement today. So today was pretty disgusting, but honestly, this was to be expected. This was obviously going to happen, just a matter of when, not if. So I hope you apes took your profits. And it looks like it's not done selling just yet. Still a decent amount of downside to go here. This was number 2 on StockTwits today. Had 6,900 mentions. Nice. So once again, we're going to analyze it. All right, let's jump right in. Let's go ahead and analyze here. And this is going to be more or less the same from the previous times we analyzed the stock, just with the updated price action today. So first of all, we have a cup and handle in the making. Bottom of the cup being the low of 440, and there can be multiple possible tops. It can be $30, $31.70, $39.30, $40, $44.55, and then the high of $53.90. Although I do believe the most realistic top would be $30. But those are all bullish indicators that is telling us that the stock should come back up to one of those tops to complete the cup. And then we have a triple gap down. Kind of hard to see here, but the first gap down was created today at 11.50. So that's a bullish indicator that is telling us that the stock should come back up to 11.50 to fill that gap. The second gap down was back at 16.15. So another bullish indicator that is telling us that the stock should come back up to 16.15 to fill that gap. And the third gap down was back at 22.50. So another bullish indicator that is telling us that the stock should come back up to 22.50 to fill that gap. And it appears like it's going to be a while before those gaps fill. It's likely going to happen in the longer term, probably when the next meme mania comes around. And now for the bearish stuff. And then we have a double gap up. First gap up was back at 8.30. So that's a bearish indicator that is telling us that the stock should come back down to 8.30 to fill that gap. And the second gap up was back at 6.50. So another bearish indicator that is telling us that the stock should come back down to 6.50 to fill that gap. And those two gaps should fill in the short term. Here we had an ascending channel developing. The upper channel was around 17 and the lower channel was around 12. So if it broke 17 to the upside, that would be bullish, and if this broke 12 to the downside, that would be bearish. This did in fact break $12 today, so the ascending channel is currently a bearish indicator. Here we had a head and shoulders. Here's the first shoulder, here's the head, back at the high of 30, and in the past few days, the second shoulder was forming, so that was a bearish indicator. That was suggesting that the stock may be due for a sell-off, and this stock did in fact sell off today. Here we had a bull flag developing, so that was bullish, but unfortunately, the stock broke out to the downside, so the bull flag got rejected and is now a bearish indicator. In the aftermarket here, this is pulling back down to 940, so if this aftermarket action holds, that would be a bearish indicator for tomorrow. That is suggesting that tomorrow, the stock will sell off as well. And down here on the MACD, the moving average convergence divergence, the MACD line is starting to pull away from the signal line to the downside. So that's a bearish indicator that is suggesting that it may be time to sell. RSI is currently at 48. So pretty average there, a little bit below average. So according to the RSI, the current price of 953 should be a little bit higher. So the RSI is currently a neutral indicator. And if you guys want to follow along, the link to the chart is in the description down below. So right now this is trading between the sideways channel, the rectangle of 965 and 940. So if this goes to the upside, next levels of resistance would be 965, 1015, 1055, 1090, 1125, 1170, $12, 1260, 1295, 1340, 1380, 1420, 1450, 1490, and then 1530. There is resistance above 1530, but we're not going to discuss that right now. And if this goes to the downside, next levels of support would be 940, 920, 885, 855, 815, 795, 750, 715, 695, 665, 640, 610, 585, 550, 520, $5, 475, and then the low of 440. So right now at the current price, 953, the channels to the upside and the downside are very wide. So expect significant price action either way this goes. However, if/when this breaks 715 to the downside, the channels start to narrow. So expect a significant decrease in price action if/when this breaks 715 to the downside. And this did 81 million in volume today, which is way above the average of 13 million. Very significant volume, so the sell-off today was confirmed by the volume. And in the past few days, the volume has been pulling back every single day. So it does appear like momentum is cooling off here, and the squeeze is winding down and coming to an end. Okay, guys, just my opinion, not financial advice. So yeah, it's been an epic short squeeze, but it was fairly obvious that this was going to happen. Just a matter of when, not if, as with every meme stock. So I hope you apes took your profits. Diamond hands is not the way, guys. When you play meme stocks, hit the sell button. Diamond hands is a great way to be a bag holder. So I'm very happy for the apes who made money here, and I'm sorry for the apes who lost money, but everything is a learning lesson, and you can use this to be better in the future. So right now, in the short term, this looks pretty bearish. There are way more bearish indicators than bullish indicators right now. Again, we have bullish indicators in the cup and handle and triple gap down, but we have strong bearish indicators in the double gap up, ascending channel, head and shoulders, rejected bear flag, MACD, and aftermarket action. So it appears like there's a lot more downside to go here, unfortunately. So therefore, if you want to go long, not financial advice, I would not do that, and I would not recommend that. The current price of 953 is actually pretty fair market value, according to the RSI. So it's a decent entry if you're willing to hold this for the long term. That being said, I think there's a lot more pullback to go. So personally, I don't like the entry. Again, in the short term, this may come back up to 1150 to fill the gap there. And from the current price of 953, that would be over a 20% upside potential. So it's a pretty decent upside potential here. And again, in the short term, this should come back down to 650 to fill the gap there. And from the current price of 953, that would be over a 30% downside potential. So I would say going long at the current price would be a high risk, medium reward play. Not really worth it, in my opinion. Going long is a gamble right now. So if you want to go long, please do that at your own risk. And it would definitely have to be for a quick scalp. Get in, get your money, get out. Make sure you set your sell orders and your stop losses. But honestly, if you're a bit patient, again, this should pull back down to 650 to fill the gap there. And I think that would be an excellent entry. A way better entry than the current price of 953. So from 650 up to 2250, where this should eventually come back up to in the longer term, that would be over a 245% upside potential. So I would say going long at 650 would be a low risk, very high reward play. Definitely worth a shot in my opinion. So massive upside potential here in the longer term, and really shouldn't go too much further to the downside. This is near the all-time low. You really can't go too wrong buying in there. So I don't like the current entry of 953, although again, it's not necessarily a bad entry, but I can't support going long at 650 where the gap is, and if it pulls back, then you can just average down at the supports that I mentioned before. Now, if you want to go short, not financial advice, looks like a pretty decent play to me. It's not exactly the best entry, but pretty average entry here. You missed a lot of downside already, so that's unfortunate, but there is still a good amount of downside to go here. It's not too late to join the party. Again, in the short term, this may come back up to 1150 to fill the gap there, which would be a 20% upside potential. And again, in the short term, this should come back down to 650 to fill the gap there, which would be about a 30% downside potential. So I would say going short at the current price would be a medium risk, high reward play. Definitely worth the shot in my opinion. It's a little risky because this is a meme stock. Ape's still in here, although they are losing the battle now. So anything is possible, but unlikely. So as long as you're able to withstand some upside pressure here, this should pull back down to 650 to fill the gap there, and that should be some pretty fat tendies on the downside. So I can support going short at the current price, 953 and higher. And again, I would cover at 650 where the gap is for a relatively easy 30% downside gain. It may even go lower than that. And I will say, if you're not comfortable going short here at the current price, then consider going short at 1150, 1620, and 2250 where the gap downs are. Those would be much better entries. But unlikely it runs back up there. So sorry to everyone who lost money in the stock today. Consider taking profits if you're still up, not financial advice. And good luck to everyone currently in the stock and to everyone looking to take a position. This is BBBY, Bed Bath & Beyond. Thanks everyone for watching today. I appreciate you guys. Please like the video, please subscribe, and catch me every weekday after market close on The Smarter Gambling Show. I'm Ty. This is Smarter Gambling. See you guys tomorrow. Peace out.